I never truly envisioned a time when I would possess the fortitude to articulate these thoughts. Some human experiences are simply too tangled, too structurally fragile, and perhaps too transgressive to ever be dragged into the light. When the final echoes of the funeral settled and the last of the mourners departed, I understood, for the first time, just how deafening an absolute emptiness could be. My husband had once occupied every square inch of this home. He was omnipresent in the resonance of his laughter and the steady, unwavering presence that anchored my world. And then, with a suddenness that felt like a violent physical blow, there was nothing. The resulting quiet was not a balm. It pressed against my skin like a physical weight, heavy and suffocating. His son had flown in for the service. In my mind, I still saw him as that distant, guarded teenager who had never managed to warm to me. He wasn't that boy anymore. He hadn't been for a long time, but the image persisted. I was never his mother, and I never attempted to masquerade as one. Our connection was defined by a mutual, restrained courtesy. We were like two satellites orbiting the same sun, caught in the same gravity but never colliding until the sun went out. The first night after we laid his father to rest, he did not return to the guest room. I found him in the living room, a wool blanket draped over his broad shoulders, staring with haunting intensity into the unlit fireplace. I paused at the threshold, caught between offering comfort or dissolving back into the shadows. I chose a middle path, making tea as a silent ritual. When I returned, his grief was sharpened by an edge of subterranean anger, but beneath that was an exhaustion so profound it seemed to pull at his features. No conversation followed. It was a silence shaped by the architecture of shared loss. As we sat there, our arms accidentally brushed. That momentary contact sent an unexpected spark through my nerves. It should have meant nothing. It didn't. The days that followed blurred into a hazy stretch of time. He stayed longer, claiming he wanted to assist me in organizing the estate. I didn't protest. His presence was oddly steady, yet perpetually charged. I began to notice details I had previously ignored. His jawline, a striking mirror of his father's. His voice, which had settled into a low, resonant tone. Sometimes I'd find him in the kitchen before dawn, shirtless and barefoot, making coffee with a natural ease. I watched him from the shadows, hating the way my heart reacted to the sight of a life continuing, while mine felt so stagnant. One humid evening, I found him in the garage sorting through his father's tools. Beneath the flickering light, the veins stood out in his forearms as he lifted a heavy chest. He offered a smile that felt genuine, unburdened by performative mourning. "He never let me use these when I was younger," he said. That smile stayed with me as the house grew dark. That night, sleep was an impossible prospect. The hallway between our rooms felt shorter, the air more magnetic. I missed the simple closeness of another human being. I missed the validation of being wanted. I heard the floorboards groan in his room and, driven by a frantic energy, I found myself at his door. It swung open before I could even knock. "Can't sleep?" he whispered. He stepped aside, a silent, heavy invitation. "You can come in." I should have retreated. I didn't. We stood in the center of the room, and I could feel the literal heat radiating from his skin. Something passed between us, raw and unspoken. "I don't know what's happening," I whispered. "Me neither," he replied, his fingers brushing mine. We sat on the edge of the bed, the room smelling of clean laundry and his woody cologne. "I shouldn't be here," I murmured. His hand found mine, steady and certain. "I don't think you're wrong for needing someone. I think we both just need to feel something other than this weight." What followed was a slow, meticulous unfolding. There were no grand declarations, just his fingers tracing small circles on my back. My heart raced as he rested his forehead against mine. Tears filled my eyes not from sorrow, but from how unprepared I was to feel so vibrantly alive again. Afterward, we lay side by side, hands interlaced. The guilt came in waves, wondering what the world and my husband would think. But when I tried to turn away, his grip tightened. "I haven't felt this steady in a long time," he confessed. Morning arrived in soft gold, I watched him sleep and realized the silence in the house no longer felt like a void. It felt like space. I stopped resisting. In the center of all that devastating loss, something unexpected had found its way in. It wasn't an answer. It was simply a reason to keep going. Grief, I realized, brings strange hungers, where comfort feels less like a choice and more like survival.